Alrighty, and we are ready quicker than I thought we would. I put too long of a timer on that. Welcome back to the video game. I am Bahamut, your caster. Here we go into our second matchup of the evening. This is Regen on the left versus Stranger Mings. I'm really excited for this matchup. Tassadar being banned out here right away. By the way, we are going into Tomb of the Spider Queen. A map that has very short rotations, as well as a lot of lane push that goes into this map as well. So I would assume to see some sort of priority on that. As well as maybe choking out some of those picks. Now, Regen thinking this over, the Tassadar was banned out, so looks like they're hovering at this point. They don't have first pick, so they're going to want to try and limit out what they might think Stranger Mings might be going into. Based on the name, maybe they're going to go into Li Ming at some point. But either way. Also, hello to everyone in Twitch chat. Hi. Stukov is going to be banned out here. Stukov works well on a map like this where you have these control points that you have to... they're not so much control points, but the turn-ins are a sort of team fighty area, so that's definitely something that they're going to want to just mitigate, not deal with. As well as Stukov in the rotations is just not fun to deal with. Val is actually going to be picked up here on the side of Stranger Mings. Now, they can go into a Cho'Gall here. This map does work well with the Cho'Gall. Vala does pair well into them with the Ariel if they can get all the if they can get those. But on the side of Regen, first two picks here, getting a strong solo laner as well as a healer tends to be a good pickup. But then again, you can always get your wave clear and your healer, so consider maybe a Gul'dan Ariel. You can just get those two right out the bat, or right out the gate. Just took two things and just mashed them together. Gul'dan Ariel, all right. And the reason I'm thinking Gul'dan Ariel is because Gul'dan provides the wave clear on this map. It makes the rotations quicker between the top and mid. Typically, you just have a strong solo laner on bottom, and so that's why I was leaning that way. Plus, he fills her bar decently, and it also does not allow the Ariel to be picked up on the side of Stranger Mings. So a good first pickup on the side of Regen. Now, with this Vala, they don't have a Tassadar because they banned it out. I wonder what they're going to be running into that. At this point, if they were to lock in a healer and a tank... Okay, so they're going to go ahead and get Lunara and Stitches. And the reason I'm leaning towards the tank and healer in this position is they've got a very good range assassin. They would pick up a strong tank, which would be Stitches. And a healer like Rhaegar would be really, really powerful. That way they can literally just kind of... Banning out after having those characters locked in is very hard because you're trying to target out very specific map things. So maybe at this point, since they're not going to be picking it up with the Gul'dan, double mage, just no thanks. Banning out the KT here would probably be a strong... It's going to be a strong ban because they don't have a ton of wave clear. So the KT does provide good poke, but they're going to go ahead and ban out the Uther because they do not have a healer yet. They're going to kind of choke that healer pool down a little bit more, taking away Uther, who is just a highly contested hero. I mean, not highly contested enough till, second ban phase. And they're going to go ahead and ban out the Greymane here. The Greymane ban here is very smart on the side of Stranger Mings because of the fact that they do not have a melee assassin, and they're not going to be... I don't think they're going to try and run the solo Gul'dan. The Curse Bullet and the dive provided from the Greymane is extremely strong, so banning that out here is definitely in the best interest of Stranger Mings, as well as if they do end up deciding to go into a secondary tank here. Anyone who's a high health pool hero, Greymane with that Curse Bullet mix into mince meat. Oh my god, thank you so much here, Ficio. I don't think I have the alert set up for that, but thank you so much for the cheer. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I hope your casting went well today. All right. So here we are in our next phase of the band picks. I want to say that picking up an Arthas here would be very beneficial on the side of Regen. The Arthas provides a strong solo lane, but they're still also going to be... I don't think they're going to want to have him solo lane for the entire game because you're going to need that tank. Unless you go into a double tank at this point. But the Giant Killer and the Poison Damage from Lunara are going to be difficult to deal with. They're going to go ahead and get the Joanna with the Malfurion. And I like the Joanna and Malfurion combination here. The roots from the Malfurion do provide a good lockdown if they do get onto one of the heroes because you have Joanna's W. So you get that pull back, then you can drop a root, and then you've really got them in a bad position here. But at the same time, they don't really have any burst on top of that. So I'm curious to see what they're going to be getting in their last pickup. Now on the side of Stranger Mings, they've got... they're going to need a healer. So Rhaegar is still on the table. I wouldn't be too surprised. Rhaegar would benefit their comp pretty well. And then they're going to need a solo laner. So they could go a specialist. I prefer Asmodan, but Zul's a viable option here. I think a Rhaegar and a Zul would go well for their comp. But they don't have a very strong front line. So they're going to go ahead with the Brightwing and the Varian. And I like the Brightwing here. The Varian works, but I don't think he's going to be going into... He'll probably just be going standard taunt build. The Stitches has the Slam. So you can like hook into taunt. Emerald wind away the enemy team. I will, here Ficio, I will fix that alert like top priority right away. Just so you know. I'm reading over in Twitch chat. I feel very bad that that alert did not go off. But we will fix that. Thank you again so much for the 100 cheer. Last pick going into this composition. They have the Gul'dan, Ariel, Joanna, Malfurion. Maybe getting something like a Sonya here might round this out. But I still think they need a little bit more damage. Tracer is actually an option. No, I don't think so. They're actually gonna go. They're gonna go into the Sonya. Okay. I was thinking maybe if you get the Tracer into them, but that Lunara I think will just ruin Tracer, and the polymorph from the Brightwing wouldn't be beneficial either. Alrighty, we are going to be going into our first matchup here. Regen versus Stranger Mings. Alrighty, and on the left-hand side, we have Regen with Murda on Sonya, Savior on Malfurion, Ragnarok on Ariel, Templar on Joanna, and Turtles on Gul'dan. On the right-hand side, we have Stranger Mings with Rogue Nerd on Brightwing, Darkstorm on Stitches, Destaris on Vala, Jinxie Cat on Varian, and Smoky Dragon on Lunara. I have like a slight like panic when I see the bars going up. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to read everyone's name right away. I'll open up this talent screen and quickly make sure that the... Okay. So I enabled the cheer donation thing. It's very basic. I don't have any gifts for it or anything, but the cheer donation is there. I fixed it right away. Here we go into our first game of the evening between these two teams. Joanna's actually going into her tanky build with the Regen Glow talent at 1. Gul'dan will be taking the corruption stacks. Sonya will be taking her standard war paint. Nothing too out of the ordinary. There is the Lion's Maw for the Varian, but that doesn't mean he's going to go into one specific build. It could just be wanting the extra damage off that Lion's Maw, since they do have the Stitches to be a little bit more tanky. At this point, we do have the Sonya right away being in bottom lane. We are going to have to rotate up here in this aggressive flank position. It looks like they're going to want to play extremely safe here. They don't have vision on all the members, so they go ahead and back off with the Sonya. They let her go into bottom with Lunara in top. The whip does go out onto the Varian. They get the friendly hook onto Jingxi Cat, and they get right out of there. That friendly hook was just a snipe in between Sonya. That was really good. But this is where we are going to see those rotations start to come out. Looks like Lunara is kind of just off-laning a little bit. She's actually... Nope, never mind. She's just going to be rotating at the bottom. The Sonya is in a slightly bad position, but she's not actually scouted out by the enemy team. Zavala does rotate back up into mid at this point, and we do have Regen going up into top for the next minion wave. And this is what we're going to see. Oh, we do get Templar getting... Varian tries to charge in, and Ariel just whips him right away just so quickly. Right, the Lunara is going to be... Thought there was going to be a slight flank from Lunara onto some of the team members, but it did not happen. They ended up just putting her back into bottom lane, and we are going to be having this rotations come back out. They're going to be playing really safe on the majority of these teams just to farm up the gems. They want to get close to 50, work towards at least their 7s before they really try and force a fight. 4s, yes, but at the same time we are having Johanna just be the piggy bank because, well, Johanna lives through everything. Varian does dive in onto the Ariel. They do get the whip back. She is slowly dying from poison a little bit, but she does have the hope for a heal. With that disengage, we do get the hook onto the Gul'dan, who is taking a significant amount of damage. Johanna goes in there to try and just give a little bit of buffer in between the teams. Right, so the whip out onto the, the Stitches. There is a root onto the Varian, who was aggressing a little bit onto the team. Did not work out too well for them, though. Just take a quick peek in bottom lane. It looks like this Lunara-Sonya matchup is just going as kind of expected. Lunara slowly losing her mana, while Sonya just kind of spins and wins and just gets rid of the damage that she's putting over time. There is a huge dive onto this Gul'dan, who is actually going to be falling right away. And that is going to be first blood going over to Stranger Mings. The hook, wow, these hooks are just sniping. The zoning roots from the Malfurion, I had to put down my water, I was trying to get a sip really quick. The zoning roots from the Malfurion will push back some of the members. Johanna does come in with the Unstoppable, and she will be able to delay this a little bit more. Varian is not able to get his 19 in. Now, Gul'dan is back up. We do have the members up here. Brightwing is going to go back for full mana. I would assume she has the phase shift in right onto the Stitches. Alrighty. So at this point, we are having, it looks like the Sonya tried to get a sip of water at the exact wrong moment. This looks like the Malfurion rotated in to try and collect this gems from the Sonya, but he will be falling as well, unfortunately. And this camp looks like it will be going over to the side of Stranger Mings. Now, in top lane, we do still have this extremely strong push. Well, I thought the rest of the team was going in with them, but I was saying it's extremely strong because most of the team was pushing up. But that won't be happening. Now, we do have a little bit of a turn in activity in this bottom lane. Varian does have the 22. We do get the hook onto the Gul'dan. They are starting to back off a little bit here. There is a whip from the Ariel onto the Stitches into that wall. Looks like they're going to have to disengage here. There will be the blind from the Johanna providing, stopping the Zavala from turning in her 10. At this point, they're doing an extremely good job of zoning these guys out from their turn-ins. Varian is trying to get that 22 in, which he did in top lane. Gul'dan was just a second too late. Now, the waves are relatively equal, pushed upwise. So it looks like in bottom, it's about midway. Mid's the same thing. And in top, It looks like it's going to be pushed in as hard as possible by Stranger Mings. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to be focusing on trying to get this top web weaver to do the most amount of damage. Mid will slowly die off. It's quite early in the game. These spiders won't be scaled up too much damage-wise. They do get the hook onto the Ariel, who came around this wall here, juking them out a little bit. They do get the polymorph onto the Joanna, who will get slowed from the charge, but looks like the Vala will have the disengage. They go ahead and they're going to go clean this top lane up on the side of Regen. But in mid, Stranger Mings is going to go ahead and push this Web Weaver up to the gate, try and get a little bit more damage, take that gate down, really try and get as much benefit out of this first Web Weaver as they can. With the team having, I don't believe Sonya fell there. We can check really quick. No, I do not believe. Okay, so Sonya, I think she had to Hearth. We do have this aggressive engage. Now, there is a ton of damage going out onto this Brightwing will be falling. Now, there is no healer on the side of Stranger Mings. They can really start to push into some of these members, but at the same time, Malfurion is a little bit low here. They do get the hook onto the Ariel. There is some damage being thrown out from the Gul'dan, slowly chunking these members down. And that is going to be a disengage with only one death just onto that Brightwing. On the side of Regen, they do have enough for turn-in. Looks like on Stranger Mings, they are getting quite close to their turn-in. With this rotations and some of these laning phasing, excuse me. I'll just check in some of these talents. And it looks like we have the cleanse from the Brightwing. Full slam build from the Stitches. Val's going to her multi-shot build. Gul'dan is actually almost done with his corruption. He only needs to hit 2 more heroes. Joanna's getting quite close to finishing her level 1 talent as well. And Malfurion is not too far off from his. So, and just to note too, Varian is, I think, 5 away. I believe it's 25 for the Lion's Maw. But this is going to be a blue Web Weaver phase going over to the side of Regen now. Top lane looks like it's going to be the priority on the side of Stranger Mings. So that gives Regen the idea to just go ahead and put the most amount of distance between them. They don't have 10s yet. Sonya will be kind of scouting this out in the bush. And they will be, unless the Wisp sees them first, they will be scouted out. Nope, they're going to go ahead and clear that, and they're going to back off now that they know that they're in mid. But this is 10s on both sides. Looks like we have, well, we're going to have a fight first, actually. Emerald Wind actually does come out right away. It doesn't hit any of the members, I don't think. There is the Rain of Vengeance from the Vala to try and get some of them back. The Horfeye does come out and it confirms the kill onto her. There will be Joanna really digging into this team, pulling them out of position. There is a silence from the Malfurion. The Lunara is getting quite low. Varian is using his protected status. I believe he has 1 more left. Might be able to get through this gate, and he will. So they're only going to be losing the Vala from that Horrify combination. The hook does go out onto the Joanna, but she does have her Iron Skin, so she will be able to walk away from this without a problem. All right. So while we have these lanes being pushed up, let's go ahead and just look at some of these ultimates. We do have the Taunt coming out from the Varian, the Leaping Strike from the Li Ming, the Rain of Vengeance from the Vala, Gorge from the Stitches, and Brightwing will be taking the Emerald Wind. On the side of Regen, though, we do have the Leap from Sonya, Twilight Dream from the Malfurion, Crystal Aegis on the Ariel, Blessed Shield from the Sonya, or excuse me, Joanna, and Horrify on the Gul'dan. Now we did get a hook onto, or excuse me, a Gorge onto one of the members. There is a huge crystal. Oh my god. There is just Horrify into, or no, excuse me, the Horrify isn't even up yet. It just came back. But that is going to be the Vala falling here. And the Malfurion. Brightwing will be dying to the Sonya. Now a lot of these members are quite low. Will Gul'dan be able to get a corruption over the wall? It will not be happening. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Now, looks like Murda will be going into this bottom lane, collecting a few more gems. Lunara actually is going to be getting the Leaping Strike onto him, and will this be a dead? Unfortunately, that is going to be a Sonya falling, but the gems were not zoned away from the enemy team, so they go ahead and collect those right back up, and with 51 gems on the side and 55 gems on the side of Stranger Mings, I wouldn't be too surprised to see them contest over this point. Do they block the Stitches? Not. Nope. This is going to be 21 gems turned in on the side of Stranger Mings. The Horrify does come out, zoning a couple of the members away just to save that Gul'dan from dying. There's a long cooldown, but they do not have the death. So they go ahead and they let the enemy team... Nope, they don't. They get the blind from the Joanna. They are trying to poke these guys down quite a bit before this Webweaver phase. The Joanna goes right in, stopping the turn in once again, I believe. I know they actually got that. Lunara does hop over. The silence does come out, and Brightwing does end up falling. Now, Sonya does have the leap onto the Lunara. The hook actually pulls the Sonya closer to the Lunara, who I believe will be dying to the shield glare. And that's going to be the Stitches falling as well. Now, Gul'dan is on the chase up against this variant. Will he get the corruption stacks that he needs? If he has well, I think he should be fine. He will be able to get out of that. Wow. But on the side of Regen, that does mean they have enough for turn-in. They're going to go ahead and get the second Webweaver phase on their side. And it looks like they're going to just take the advantage and push into this middle wave. Since the members are just coming back now, they are going to have to play a little bit safe. They do have 13s, but that doesn't mean that Stranger Mings isn't on the cusp of it themselves. Looks like mid's going to be cleared out quite quickly. Bottom is going to be addressed as well. And they're probably going to be losing the gate up in top. I don't think it would be a... Well, they're all really rotating into bottom, so they're probably going to be losing a fort up here in top. Unfortunately, the bottom was actually their most pushed out wave. They should have just taken out mid, top, and then just rotated into bottom. That would have been the most best way to get the defensive value out of their rotations. But that is going to be a fort in top, and it looks like we'll probably be saving the fort in mid. But that top Webweaver is still a little powerful, and that just means that Regen can rotate in, take this fort once they see the enemy team working on that top lane. So they go ahead and confirm the second fort, and that is going to be a decent push on the side of Regen for their Webweaver phase. Now, at this point, they are close to 16s. They're about half a level away. Stranger Mings can take a fight here that would be 2 levels down. They're going to go ahead and try and just get the turn in as quickly as possible before they get poked out and the enemy team does show up for a fight. Now, there is a taunt onto the Joanna. She does pop her Iron Skin and is able to get out, but she does not have that for this fight that's coming up. It looks like Sonya will be leaping onto this Lunara, who she has Leaping Strike, but she will not be utilizing it just yet. There is, unfortunately, the Stitches will be falling here. They have 50 out of 55 gems currently in the bank. And this looks like it's going to be another rotation from Regen, pushing up these waves and just creating a lot of map control on their side. And so at this point, they can just push up the wave, get some gems, rotate around. Sonya will be going onto that camp, and it looks like the rest of the team will be getting this one. And they're just creating a lot of lane control and map control. And that on Tomb of the Spider Queen is extremely strong to have. Now, Joanna is in this bush currently scouting out for when they are going to try and turn in. They only need 5. So she's going to want to try and position herself so that, you know, one person can't just get 5 in. But luckily, that is only Varian, I believe, at this point. I don't think Lunara has any, and Stitches I don't think has any either. So they really want to focus on this Varian. Well, they do get the poke out onto him. Lunara is starting to rotate up into the team, and actually she is someone that they need to worry about as well, and she's probably going to be sneaking this into bottom. Sonya does... I think Sonya's... They get the Webweaver turn in, but at this point they go for the fight. Emerald Wind is used by the Brightwing for a very good disengage, and they go ahead and get away with this without losing a single member. Now, 16s are on the side of Regen, so they have to be extremely careful with the fight that they do potentially take in this Webweaver phase. The leap is out from the Sonya onto this Lunara, and she falls right away, and that is exactly what I was talking about. They had to be so careful because of the fact that they have the 16. There is an aggressiveness that comes with that territory, and with the 2-level lead that they had at that moment, they went ahead and said, you know what, I think we can get this Lunara. So they leap in, they get the Poison Spear onto, or excuse me, the Mythical Spear? Or Poison Spear, I was right. And onto the Lunara, and it looks like these Webweavers will not be getting too much value on the side of Stranger Mings. They do actually get a little bit of this top lane, but right away it is cleared up from the Joanna and the Sonya. They'll lose about half the health on that fort. At this point, we're going to see a lot of just lane control starting back up from both teams. They're going to want to work towards getting another turn in. Regen already has it, and in 2 seconds, they will be turning in. The majority of their lanes are quite pushed up, which will be beneficial to them. But at the same, this mid wave is going to be a decent pushback. They're probably going to go ahead and turn and clear it right away. That way their web weavers get the most value in their spawning. There is a long time before they do spawn. There is the variant who is cleansed out. He is rude. Oh, there's a 5-man stun from the Vala. They go ahead and they just disengage. But what they did do is they burned a few of the ultimates on the enemy team. So Emerald Wind is down for 50 seconds. There is a Rain of Vengeance that is currently going to be down as well. But there is, I believe, 2 charges of that, so it should charge right back up. Vala's actually holding her 16 currently. 2 charges, yes. So in bottom, they do notice them right there, so they're going to go ahead and say, all right, well, we're going to push up our top as best as we can. Since we see you in bottom, you're going to rotate into mid, and they're going to want to make this... They're going to try and get the most value out of this. Maybe get a keep gate. It is 16-16 currently for talent, so they can go in for this fight. This would be really aggressive. I'm just in awe if they're going to do this. Stitches does try and scout it out. I don't think he got the vision onto them. There is a potential for a hook through the wall. It goes onto the Sonya. She does have leap still. She is gorged as well. I don't think I can zoom out any further. I'm trying to see everything. She does hop right over the wall, and it looks like she will be getting away. And with that, though, there was a lot of distraction with that gorge and potential kill. They go ahead and confirm the first keep of the game on the side of Regen. Now, this is a really aggressive fight that they're trying to take on. The Horrify is used by the Gul'dan. The Crystal Aegis is out currently. Leaping Strike is there, trying to get so much damage out. The Gul'dan is actually going to be dying here. And that is going to be a really strong pickup on the side of Stranger Mings. Now, they do have the Iron Skin on the Joanna. She is going to be trying to get away, but it looks like she will be taunted and falling as well. Luckily, they turned in all their gems before this, so they will not be losing many gems on the side of Regen, but this looks like it's going to be in a boss play for Stranger Mings. Sonya does get the pull forward, pulling Varian forward with his charge as well. Looks like they'll be able to get underneath this keep, but this is going to be a boss going over to Stranger Mings. Alrighty. With that, take a quick peek at some of these talents. Now, the Vala did actually go into her Manticore at 16. Varian does have the defensive banner. Trying to just see if there's maybe anything that's kind of out of the ordinary. I'm not noticing anything as I'm just kind of scanning this. So we are going to be having the turn-in on the side of Stranger Mings. Now, this will be a turn-in with a boss in top. Joanna is just now spawning. Sonya was deep-pushing bottom a little bit, trying to get closer to that 20. And if they do have that 20 advantage, they definitely can take a stronger fight up against Stranger Mings on the side of Regen. But with this boss and the Web Weaver coming in, they get a hook and a gorge onto the Ariel here. The Crystal Aegis is casted on herself. She is getting there's so much damage coming out right away, but it looks like they'll be able to mitigate the majority of that hook, just barely missing one of the members of Regen. Now, Gul'dan is putting out quite a bit of damage here, zoning a few of the members back. Looks like they do get a root onto the Stitches. There is going to be some corruption thrown out onto him. And this is where I looked over at Twitch chat at one point. So someone said solo healer Brightwing, and I was like, huh, I never thought about the fact that they got that Gul'dan so early and just healing up against the Gul'dan damage. I don't know if Brightwing will be able to consistently do that, especially at 20 where there's a really, really big power spike for the enemy team, I guess, for Stranger Mings. But at the same time, Web Weavers are still pushing up. That means that they're going to have to push this back. They still have a little bit to go before they get 20s themselves, but it's only a level difference. With this, though, let's take a quick peek. We are going to have the Ignore Pain. Malfurion is holding. I wouldn't be too surprised. I believe it's... No, he's actually going to go for the... He's going to go for the upgrade on the Silence. There is the Shield of Hope from Ariel. Joanna did take her Indestructible, And there is the demonic ring from demonic circle from the Gul'dan. Now going back into this, it looks like they really want to take a fight on the side of Regen. They have their 20s. They are technically stronger in the team fight, but Stranger Mings is having nothing to do with that. They're going to play really, really safe. They're turtling up. They're making sure that they don't get picked off. And there will not be a turn-in for either team at this point. Both of them quite a ways off, about 30 plus each. So they're going to go ahead and push in this top wave on the side of Regen. And this is an extremely smart move by just keeping a lot of pressure on this top wave. It is the wave that doesn't have any a keep, so it's going to be pushing up with catapults, and that's just pushing that up as far forward as possible and then trying to take a fight with this Sonya just leaping into the gate. There's a silence from the Malfurion. There's a huge a Horrify comes out. There's rooting behind the gate, and they pull out the Stitches out of position with that Horrify. They do get the pull in. Actually, Brightwing gets pulled in as well, and it's going to be a double kill. Now, that top lane, as we were talking about just a second ago, had 2 catapults when they pushed up. Now it has a 3rd arriving and a 4th on the way. And they're going to be rotating straight into this lane. They're going to say, you know what, this is our strong lane. This is where we're going to push. We have 2 of the members of Stranger Mings dead for the next 40 to 45 seconds. They're going to aggress really, really hard here with this minion wave and 2 catapults. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and try and end the game. Now, Vala is coming in around this keep. Sonya is trying to spin to win, try and get a vision on some of this Lunar, who's in the backline just trying to melt some of these heroes down. And she's doing quite a good job of it, but the Ariel and the Malfurion are just over-healing so much. The Sonya does come out and starts to spin onto the onto the Lunar. Ariel will be falling here. Malfurion will be falling here. Joanna will be falling here. And is this going to be 6% core, 5%? Do we get another? Nope. Okay. So with a 5% core, I believe that's considered a Kalaris core. Because I think it's 5. It has to be 5 or less per HGC caster rules that they just made up on the spot. But with this team wipe that they currently got, unfortunately, there is no boss. They don't have enough for the Web Weaver phase. But what they can do with 30 seconds on their side, they can go ahead, push up into this mid, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and try and take this keep. Top lane, in my opinion, might be the better choice because you would have catapults going against catapults, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you think you can end the game, by all means, burn that keep down, take it, and try and end. But we have most of the members coming up in about 15 seconds. Actually, all the members in 15 seconds total. So they're going to go ahead and get this keep, and they're going to back off. So what they've done is they've created mid lane pressure with the catapults that will be coming in. Lunara already had to go back, and this will be clearing out these catapults before they can really do any damage to the core. And it looks like at this point, the boss did just come up. They're going to go ahead and turn in 28 here and just kind of put those into the bank. Puts them near halfway. They're actually going to go ahead and just take this boss. This is a really, really aggressive play. Now, on the side of Stranger Mings, do they sniff it out is the big question. We do have the Vala coming around the side. The Wisp is there. They do see the Wisp come in, so they all know that they're coming in with this Wisp. So the stun comes out from the Joanna. They are trying to just buy as much time. Now, Horrify is there on the side of... No, they already used the Horrify. Oh, no. The boss is stolen from Lunara, who just got to that backline. Malfurion uses his Ice Block, and this is a boss going over to Stranger Mings. And this is going to be... Oh, no, okay. I thought the Gul'dan died. He used his Demonic Circle, and that is going to be the Ariel falling as well. And with that, though, we do have a Catapult Encore. There is shielding still, and we do have the Lunara already going back. So this will be a boss that probably will be confirming a keep. Maybe a little bit of damage onto the core. It's just so unfortunate. They used that Horrify so early, and if they just saved it for that 1 point, they would have gotten that Lunara pushing that corner. There's a taunt onto the Joanna. She does have Indestructible still. She pops her Iron Skin, I believe. Yeah, she pops her Iron Skin. The blind does come out on a couple of the members here, and they're just, as I said, they're going to be losing the keep. The Lunara is here currently to help just push them back a little bit more with that poison damage. Now, Sonya will be up in about 6 seconds. They do get the... Oh my god, they're just blowing up onto this Joanna. She does get her unstoppable, so she will be able, with a sliver of health, to get onto the... back into the Nexus. This will be the Stitches falling, actually. Joanna uses her... excuse me, Sonya uses her leap. Will they be able to save this, actually? So the boss is doing so much damage, we actually end up losing the Lunara as well, and that is going to be the first game going over to Stranger Mings. GG, well played. Alrighty, and welcome back. Here we go into our second game of the evening between Regen and Stranger Mings. First game going over to Stranger Mings on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So we're going into Cursed Hollow now, a very large map where globals become more of a priority than the map we were just on. The Brightwing in the last map was extremely useful, and I kind of talked it down. They won with it, but it just up against that Gul'dan, like I don't know how they pulled it out. I'm not a major support player. I'm shamefully not a major support player because I'm bad at healing my friends. But yeah, I have no idea how they just kept everyone alive up against that Gul'dan. Now, going to Cursed Hollow, as I said, the global threat is a priority. With the first pick on the side of Regen, they're not going to want to limit that pool too dramatically. So maybe banning out something that they knew worked well against for the other team, maybe just getting rid of that so they don't need to deal with it this game. So the Lunara was quite a pain, but they're going to go ahead and ban out the Genji here. And the reason I'm talking about Lunara because she has a faster base speed. She has vision that she can throw across the map constantly, and she also provides very good poke at the tribute points, especially if she does go into the Thornwood Vines on this map. She does have just incredible poke into that late game. Now, Tassadar is going to be hovered by Stranger Mings, and I've actually been seeing Tassadar be banned out in other games that I've had today. I actually had one just before this, and the Tassadar was banned out right away, and maybe I'm missing something, but I didn't think he was that powerful still. Okay, but looks like they're going to be hovering that. Now, let's just talk about first picks, because if they're going to go into this Tassadar, we don't need to worry about too much about that discussion. Let's go ahead and consider first picks. On the side of Regen, I talked about global threat. This map with Dahaka is extremely powerful. But the Dahaka here, I think, is extremely useful as a first pick. You go ahead and you get that global threat on your side, as well as being able to push up the lanes until literally the curse is popping, and then burrowing into almost anywhere on the map. It's such a powerful thing to have on your side. But at the same time, they don't have to take it. They can pick up, if they want, they can go ahead and just grab that first pick Uther. That's a strong way to start off your comp as well. Uther works with the majority of teams. He pairs well into the Stitches, which you can then maybe pick up in the next round. The next round picks. They're going to go ahead and pick up the Vala, actually. They're going to take the Vala off the board. Which I'm curious if... So the last game, they got that Ariel really quickly. I wonder if they're going to go ahead and just pick up the Ariel themselves so they don't need to deal with a Vala Ariel combo. And the reason I go... Let's fly. He's the best support in the mage. They're going to go ahead and get the double global threat of Falstead and Dahaka. Now, this can actually anti-synergize in some ways if you have a Dahaka burrowing into the same lane a Falstead's flying into. I mean, unless you're going in for like some sort of crazy team fight or something like that. Well, not crazy, but if you're going to a team fight or anything like that, yeah, it's worth it. But if you're just using it for rotations around the map, that can technically anti-synergize if there is no communication between the teams. But going into the next picks for Regen, I had talked about the Aria a little bit, and the reason I talk about her is because typically when you have a healer in these tribute fights, they rely on mana. And Ariel, if she has a Vala and someone else who's charging her, mostly just Vala, if she's being charged by that, their healer can stay there forever. And if the healer's there, they can still auto-attack. And as long as they're auto-attacking, they're getting healed. So it's just this endless cycle of you never stop fighting because you have that battery with the Vala. But at the same time, you have the Gust later in the game for a little bit of splitting. There's the Vala. I said Vala, but Ariel and Rhaegar are going to be picked up here together. Now, Rhaegar does solo some of these camps pretty well, and he can solo lane, so that does give the ability for the Vala Ariel to breathe a little bit, run the combo together. You can have the Rhaegar solo a lane, because you're going to have Falstad soloing probably. You're going to have Dahaka soloing probably. So at this point, they're going to be picking up and... Well, let's first off, let's talk about the bans. So, Genji... I was just reading Twitch chat and I just said Genji. Sorry. I believe Twitch chat's referring to the fact that I said Brightwing's not the best healer. I don't know, someone said in Twitch chat he is the best healer in NA, but Brightwing, I don't know what it is. But anyways, all right, the draft. So, Anub'arak being hovered here, they're going to want to choke out the tank pool. And Anub'arak works really well on this map. I honestly think you guys need to ban out that Stitches. Joanna isn't a bad ban. They did play a pretty strong Joanna on the last map, but I think Stitches gets a little bit more utility. It's just I think he's works a little bit better, but granted, at the same time, they did have that first ban. That means they're going to have the first pick, so maybe banning out the Stitches would have limited their own pool of tanks that they're going to end up picking up themselves. Now, on the side of Regen, they're going to want to look to cripple Stranger Mings in some way. Uther is still open. And... I think the Uther ban would be good to have, but at the same time, what do you end up? I feel like you try and choke them out of supports at this point. That's really the best thing you can do. But they're gonna go ahead and just take out the Arthas. And the reason I'm talking about choking out supports is because you can technically give them that Uther, and there's a lot of, it's just, he's got a lot in his kit that's just so useful. And unfortunately, Twitch chat, there is no Uther ban incoming. Now, so they're gonna go ahead. I'm looking over Twitch chat. It's just people like in caps. Just Brightwing is the best healer, and I don't doubt you. Like I know people who play some mean Brightwings, and I wouldn't want to go up against them. But for a triple global, I don't think they're going to be going for that. The Muradin pickup here is strong. He does have good good team fighting ability, and the Thunderclap. You can take the reduced attack speed at 4 up against this Vala and Rhaegar, because they are a little auto attacky, so that might be beneficial. They're going to go triple. Okay, they're going triple global. Why don't they just go ahead and take an Abathur too? He's technically a global hero if you look at his Z, if you base global on just, their, mounts and everything. Dahak is global because he has his Brush Stalker's his Z. Why not? Why not just go into an Abathur? I mean, it's Cursed Hollow, and Abathur on Cursed Hollow does work pretty well. But just to, I want to make sense of it in my head, but it just like a solo Falstad for your damage, I don't know if that would be enough. On the side of Regen, though, we do have Stitches still available, and Grayman is actually still up too, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see those two rounding out the comp. Now, the reason I lean on those two is Cursed Bullet up against the Muradin or Dahaka will chunk them down pretty good, and the Hook is going to synergize well with Rhaegar's Earthgrass Totem and the Rain of Vengeance from the Vala. So those are the two that I think would pair well, but they're gonna go into an Illidan and Diablo here. Okay, Illidan? I mean, it does give them a technical global if they take Hunt at 10. And the Apocalypse on some of these tighter corridor fights would be pretty beneficial. I'm thinking that the Hook would just synergize with the team, but the Illidan Diablo combination here, The only thing that I worry about with this Illidan pickup is that they're going into a Brightwing and a Dahaka. So if the Brightwing does... Well, let's put this in, like, perfect synergy situation. Yeah, I just looked over at Twitch chat and someone was just saying they're going to run Illidan and, like... Way to call it Twitch chat. I don't know how... Murden Abathur hat. I don't think it's going to be an Abathur, but I've been proven so wrong already, so... The one thing I want to note about Illidan going into a Brightwing, there is the polymorph.
This realm needs me.
It would... we should, consider the fact that a team is named Stranger Mings. Like, maybe they'd take Li Ming? But the Illidan into this Brightwing, for the third time trying to actually say it, it's going to be hard for him, because if he dives in, he just gets polymorphed. And then if he's polymorphed, he could get dragged, and... It's a little worrisome to take the Illidan into the Brightwing, but they might know something I don't. Either way, we are going into our second game of the evening, Regen vs. Stranger Mings on Cursed Hollow. And thank you so much to, I'm going to murder this, Crymotripissin. That's so bad. If you can type that phonetically, that'd be great. But thank you. Way to just literally, like, call out the draft constantly. So on the left-hand side, we have Regen with Murda on Illidan, Savior on Ariel, Ragnarok on Rhaegar, Templar on Diablo, and Turtles on Vala. On the right-hand side, we have Stranger Mings with Rogue Nerd on Brightwing, Jinxie Cat on Dahaka, Smoky Dragon on Falstead, Darkstorm on Muradin, and Destaris on Li Ming. So team fight wise, I kind of give it over to Regen, but I'm curious to see how Stranger Ming's comp is going to be controlling the map, because it feels like their composition is very macro based, and they are going to be trying to control the lanes, push up as much as possible. And that just the reason I'm also making this assertion is because the fact that Brightwing did take Bribe at level 1, so I would expect to see the Pixie Dragon, going around the map trying to pick up those siege camps, maybe even stealing the aggressive siege camp on Regen's side. So we do have the Rhaegar and the Illidan going into top and bottom. We do have the 3-man in mid of Ariel and Diablo. Currently, they're just leaving 5 in mid. They do have the triple global, so they can literally, brush talk into bottom, flight into top, whatever they want to do, and then phase shift the Brightwing wherever they need her, or it. Illidan is currently in bottom by himself. The Li Ming will come down here with the Falstead. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to nail a flank here. So, with this... I keep looking over at Twitch chat and I'm like, oh no, these horrible things. I hope they're not true. It's just someone saying, good thing they have a lot of practice against Illidan, and I'm wondering which team that would be. Now, in mid, they are getting pushed back towards their gate. And this is what I was talking about. Damage-wise, I actually have both of their damage dealers in bottom pushing up against this Illidan. And this is kind of not crippling him, but it's forcing him back. He can't really go into a Li Ming and a Falstead. So they're going to be going ahead and just kind of poking down this tower. Falstead will be he actually went into the Gathering Storm, the mage build at level 1, so he's going to be stacking up for heroes. I'm surprised he's actually not in mid, stacking up them a little bit more, but this Illidan is currently getting poked quite a bit. They do have the Vala and the Ariel rotating in to switch out the laning here. So they'll give a little bit of false hope on the side of Stranger Mings. The Falstead does go a little bit far forward. He does have the barrel roll to get out. Now Li Ming will poke from the bushes, trying just to kind of get as much damage out as possible, but the Ariel is sitting at a full bar of hope, so they'll be able to just drop that right away. Now, in mid, the Illidan just gets the swipe away, so he'll be able to stay alive. The death timers are quite short, but still, just giving that first level kill isn't always the best thing to do. Now, this is what I was talking about, the solo camping. Rhaegar will go ahead and get that. It is going to be a little bit late on his return to the team. Dahaka does have the brush stock. We do get the poke over the wall from the Vala. There is the whip back from the Ariel. Now, we don't have the team coming. It looks like they're going to be going ahead and just giving this one up. They poked it down a little bit, but the team will not be able to respond in time. Now, Dahaka is still in top. The siege camp is just arriving there, so Rhaegar will be pushing up with that. We do have the Illidan and the Diablo pushing in quite a bit into mid, taking a few of those tower shots out. Now, in bottom... Oops, excuse me. We do have some of the members rotating around, just getting into their laning positions. Check some of these talents, though. Looks like Illidan did take the friend or foe, so he'll be able to dash to a few of his friendly teammates. We actually have the Caltrops for... Oops, excuse me. I'm so sorry. We do have the that Falstad did die from the Vala multi-shot. But we do have the Caltrops actually coming out from the Vala. She's working her way through the majority of those. Now, as Murden is rotating into a 3-man, he does get whipped into the wall. Illidan is going in onto him, but the rush shot comes out from the Dahaka, gets the drag onto the Ariel. Murden does have to use his dwarf hop to get out of that, and they will just continue to aggress onto this gate. So Dahaka burned his... Now, Falstad and Li Ming did go into top up against this Rhaegar, so they are rotating these laning matchups constantly and just keeping each enemy on their toes. You know, they rotated the Illidan out for the Vala and the Ariel, which is actually proven to be a little bit too much for the Li Ming and Falstad, so they're in top. So it's just all of these different rotations. Now, I do not believe there are any globals currently up on the side of Stranger Mings. They might have the phase shift. It looks like Rhaegar will zone out the Falstad. There will be the poke from the Li Ming with the magic missiles. Falstad does barrel roll forward. They do end up killing the Murden in bottom lane, and that is actually going to be a give on the side of Stranger Mings. They will not be able to poke this down any further because they do not have their tank. In bottom lane, though, we do have the Brightwing coming down here. Stranger Mings has a lot of practice against the Illidan, someone confirmed in chat. Alright, but now we have the Li Ming coming into the bottom. The Vala just vaulting forward at like the last second. I was just like, that orb's gonna hit her, and it just barely misses her. So this is it's just really, really good play, and it's interesting when you get to obs this kind of stuff. You actually get to see how other people play, and you're like, oh wow, I never thought to do that, or I've never seen, you know, because you're always watching yourself when you're playing. At least I am, because I'm a filthy silver. We do have the cleanse out from the Rhaegar actually at level 7. Illidan will be going into the Hunter's Onslaught. There will be the Boomerang from... Yep, that is the Boomerang. So we're going full mage build from the Falstad. Just trying to see if there's anything just out of the ordinary. I'm not seeing anything too crazy. Vala does vault forward, but she does back off right away. The Dahaka is there. I believe all the globals should be up on their side, but we are going to just go ahead and kind of position ourselves here so we can see how the rotations come in. There is the Illidan getting this siege camp over on the left-hand side. Check in with that. So he's got another giant to go through, and he is going to be a little late to this. They are close to 10s on the side of Regen, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and give this one up. They get the siege camp in top, and they continue to push down and bottom a little bit. They clear the wave. Dahaka has been just pushing this up and probably backing off and staying near his towers, but at this point he cannot stay very long with this Ariel and this Vala combo. They do get the whip back into the fort. He does use his essence right away, so he will not have that for the fight. There is 10s on the side of Regen, though. We do have the Rain of Vengeance from the Vala. Diablo has the... Oh, we have a flight in from Falstad. Hold on. So we have the Bloodlust from the Rhaegar, the Crystal Aegis from the Ariel, and Hunt from the Illidan. So he can be... If he's in mid lane, I think he can actually hunt to the bottom as quickly as possible. But there is the Falstad who is in the bushes trying to get the skill onto the Vala. They do get the Rain of Vengeance out onto one of the members. Crystal Aegis is there. They get the Hinterland Blast point blank in her face. Oh, man. That snap, that pickup. Okay, so they took Hinterland Blast. Dahaka went into the adaptation. Li Ming has her Disintegrate. Murden took the Avatar, and Brightwing did end up taking the Emerald Win. And Emerald Win on this map. See, the thing that I'm curious about is why they didn't take Gust. Because on a map with 2 bosses, and you have a Brightwing, you gotta take Gust. I mean, Gust, if the Gust fails, then you have the Emerald Wind as a backup. But nonetheless, if they got some sort of wombo they can run with this, kudos to them. Like, I barely ever take the Interland Blast just because I never can hit enough people. But the Bloodlust is already used by the Rhaegar. Li Ming gets a beam onto quite a few of the members here. Is already, I believe, yeah, all the ultimates have been used except for the Apocalypse, which has just been used right away. It does get the stun out onto the Brightwing. They get the kill onto the Murden, and this fight is starting to go in the favor of Regen very quickly. With 3 killed on the side of Stranger Mings, they are going to have to back off, and this will be a 2-for-2 on tribute points. And with that, I would assume it looks like Regen will go ahead and pick up this boss. We're going to pull up the stats really quick, take a peek at some of those questing talents, how they're coming along. Does it show the false dead stacks? It does not. I think I can guess the number, though. That should be false dead. Nope. Oh, it is. He's at 26 stacks currently, so they're going to go ahead and pick up the boss on the side of Regen, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and pick up the boss on the side of the, excuse me, Stranger Mings. I had to tried to sip my water at the same time, trying to think about an idea. Alrighty. So, with that, they have the boss pushing in bottom lane. This will confirm the fort. The rest of the team from Regen did report into top lane quick enough. They probably will lose their gate. They'll be able to save the fort, but that is a curse currently in bottom lane with the entire team of Regen in top, and they are going to have to go ahead and give this up, let the fort take it out as best as they can. Murda will be in this bush just waiting for his team. So Falsa does show that he is on the boss currently. Li Ming pokes the bush. Illidan does come out. He goes for tries to cap it, but the Brightwing is there with the Li Ming. I don't know if they'll be able to take this, but there is currently an engage happening right above our heads. Murden is actually zoned away from his own team. He jumps over the wall, meets up with them, starts to zone out against this tribute. They get 2 members with that Hinterland Blast with the fall. It just barely gets out. Now they get the stun onto the Murden, who is getting collapsed upon. Bloodlust is already called out. They do get the follow-up. Nope, they don't get the kill onto him. They actually get no, they do get the kill onto him. They get the kill onto the Haka. That is curse for Regen, and they are starting to just push into the enemy team. With the 3 kills here, they're already aggressing on to a keep at this point. Falsa is extremely low. Do they end up getting a... No, okay. I was going to say, if they had the vision... Okay, never mind. Hunt was down still. I was going to say, if they have the vision on the Falstad, they could have hunted him. At the same time, they get the keep. They clear out the tower. They let the minion wave push up because most of the members are back currently. And they're just going to go ahead, play this safe. No bosses up currently. They could go for the hard camp, but I'm assuming they're probably going to go for this mid lane fort. Illidan is already behind the wall working down this tower. We do have the Li Ming coming in, trying to put a little bit of damage out, but unfortunately it will be a little too late. Diablo will body a little bit of the damage. Falstad is here. Brightwing is phase shifting in. Murden is now up. Dahaka should have Brush Stalker after he clears that bottom wave. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and let that push in. He's going to... I think Brightwing got the... Someone got the siege camp. I missed that.
Enough. The curse is over. I hope you...
In top, Falstad flew up here to try and clear this out as quick as possible. Regen will go ahead and capture this hard camp. Meanwhile, Stranger Mings, they need to focus on clearing out their bottom, pushing it up a little bit, letting those siege giants get a little bit more value. The catapult's just going to be chunking them down so much. Now the Li Ming is showing in mid. They do have the Falstad showing in top. And Dahaka at bottom, so they can potentially... They have a vision on a few members, so they can just kind of group up and maybe go for a pick. But with the global threat, they have almost any member who can be, you know, jumping around the map to join in with the team fight any second. Diablo will get the Shadow Charge in, Hunt in from the Illidan, and that is going to be a dead Brightwing. The Dahaka, I think, was trying to burrow, but he got whipped into the corner of the bush there, and that is going to be a double kill. So I was talking about the global threat, but unfortunately, if you target the global threat constantly, that's just gonna, you know, there's no threat. So I believe boss is up in about, yep, boss is up in a minute for Regen, and I think it's like a minute 30 on the side of Stranger Mings. So at this point, all they're really going to be focusing on is just trying to push up the lanes. They're going to go ahead, confirm this fort with the Illidan. Now they have... oh, the Murden did... okay. They're going to go ahead and get this... nope, they're not. I thought they were going to get a flank onto the Falstead, but he goes ahead and flies into mid. With that, though, the Illidan will be rotating back up into his team. They have all their members back from that pick earlier. Now, at this point, the curse cycle should start back up. I believe it should be randomized again. No, this one is technically predictable, but I haven't been paying attention to the count. So this next one, I believe, will be in top, though, if my math is correct. So with 16s on, sorry, a little bit of water. With 16s on the side of Regen and 15s, well, 16s at the cusp of Stranger Mings, they're playing extremely safe. They get their camp. That's going to be pushing up mid during this engagement. Regen really wants to make sure that they defend this because this is curse point for Stranger Mings. So they are in this bush. You got to be very quiet when you're casting when people are in bushes. You don't want to give it away. The Falstead uses his Hinterland Blast right off the bat. So it's a 90-second cooldown. The boss is up for both sides. The Polymorph comes out right away. We do have the Illidan coming straight into a few of these members. Diablo is currently engaging onto the Li Ming, but the Emerald Wind does come out to block a few of them. Diablo is still zoning a few of them out. The Illidan using his hunt onto that Li Ming, trying to burn her down. Has a few friends to jump to with that friend or foe talent we talked about earlier. Now he's getting so low. Chain heals from Rhaegar, trying to keep them quite a bit. Ariel is currently full on her hope, so she will be able to heal quite a few members. They get the heal right there. Diablo does have to come around because he did kind of split around this wall. He doesn't... he should have actually souls, so if he does die, it's not that big of a deal, but it is still them without a tank. They are getting pushed out a little bit here on the side of Regen. Will they be able to get the poke? They get the multi-shot with the Vala, but this Muradin is going to be destroyed. Now, with that tank currently dead, they are starting to push onto a few of the members. They have to play safe with their Diablo, but the Dahaka will be falling as well. Now, this is a full retreat on the side of Stranger Mings. Falstead will be flying into that bottom lane to make sure that those 3 catapults do not get onto the core. With 2 dead and the Falstead flying in bottom, it looks like they're going to go ahead and take the aggressive boss from Stranger Mings. And this is a strong play. It's, you know, you have the next curse coming up. You're not going to be able to rotate into mid and save your fort. It's currently just a wizard, I believe. Someone will have to take care of that quite soon. But the fort was gone. They went ahead. They did the smart play. They got the boss. That'll be going on to the top keep. But what they can do at this point is they can have one person go clear mid. They can rotate onto their boss and have that be pushing onto a keepless lane. And there should actually be another curse point coming up quite soon. And since this is the 3rd one, it'll be random. It's going to be in top lane. They probably will be able to burn this. Nope, they're going to go ahead and just go for the curse point. They don't want to let Stranger Mings get a curse at all at this point, so they're going to go ahead, rotate right into this, and Stranger Mings can do kind of the same thing. They're going to leave their Falstead to work on this boss up against the core. Brightwing does phase shift in. Do they get the poke with the Vala? They do. The Hinterland Blast does come out from the Falstead. It will actually, I think, connect onto one. Illidan does get the hunt in. There is a stun onto the Murden, who will get caught out by that, and that will be a dead Murden. Now, there's a flip onto the Dahaka, who will be collapsed upon as well. And this is the exact same engagement they basically had at the last curse. They focused down the Murden. They focused down the Dahaka. There was a full retreat from the enemy team. And with this, I think they're going to be going ahead and going back to that boss that they were starting to work on, because unfortunately, with the Brightwing, Falstead, and Li Ming, I don't think they're going to be able to do much up against this. Now, if they had the Gust, they could do a ballsy play of some sort of Emerald Wind and Gust, but they're going to go ahead. They're going to clear that bottom minion wave. And with this, they should be able to time this out just as the curse pops. That one was in top right, so I believe it should be like bottom middle next. I think it should be bottom middle, because I think it was like top left, top right, then it should be bottom middle. Anyways, so they're going to go ahead and get that boss. They'll be pushing up into the bottom lane. The curse point will be coming up soon. They're going to have to make a hard decision on the side of Stranger Mings. Are they going to be pushing back in the lanes, or if they're going to be trying to take a fight pre-20? They're really, really close on the side of Regen. they're so close to 20s on the side of Regen, but this boss is just, it could be so detrimental. A 17-minute boss could just, destroy their core completely. And this also, they're going to go ahead and push into this middle fort. Now, this is just something I want to note. One, they're getting their 20s, and two, if someone did somehow get onto that point, Illidan does have the hunt, so he would be able to hunt straight onto that point and at least poke it down for a decent amount of time until the rest of the team rotates in from that midpoint. So really, really strong play on the side of Regen. They do have their 20s now. This will be curse for them. They're going to be rotating into mid, it looks like. And I think they're going to be trying to take this team fight. Now, Stranger Mings, they don't want anything to do with a team fight at all. Falstad does have the barrel. He does actually get stunned as he was trying to barrel roll through his gate. The Hinterland Blast doesn't even come out because the Illidan stunned him out with the hunt. Now, there is a leap over the wall from the Murden, who does have his avatar form, but Illidan is just saying, no thanks. He has the lightning bond. He's going to go ahead and try and charge into him. He is getting so sticky onto so many of these members. Li Ming does use her beam, but the Emerald Wind does come out and pushes them kind of out of it. The tongue does come out onto the onto the Diablo, but it looks like they will be confirming this second keep in the game. Now, we do have the Murden getting just destroyed on that side of the keep, and that is going to be one catapult already in the core. Dahaka is going to be coming up from his tunneling claws, but he will be falling, and this looks like it's going to be game number 2 going over to Regen. GG, well played. Alright, and welcome back to our third match. Oh, my little thing is broken. Excuse me, I'm going to be silent for a minute while I fix this. It's just that the link for this sometimes breaks itself. Regen is not up 3 points. Where's Chair League? Properties. So it's going to flash really quick, but it should adjust the numbers correctly. It should be 1-1 currently. There we go, and we are going into Brax's holdout. Ooh, we fixed that real quick. Let me just get to my other web page so I can make sure that I'm monitoring all my caster stuff. Cool. Okay, so I agree. The Gust was really needed on this map, I think. The poke that you got, or in the last matchup, the poke you got from the Hinterland Blast was great, but they're going to go ahead and just ban out that Ariel. The Ariel has been picked up by Regen in both games, and it looks like they're going to go ahead, instead of banning out the Tassadar, they're going to ban out Ariel and say, you know what? No, we just stop picking Ariel. So, but ban-wise on the side of Regen, I wonder what they're going to be going into, what they're going to be banning out here. Tassadar has been banned out by Stranger Mings each time, but they have first pick, so I'm wondering if Regen's considering the Uther ban, or if they're considering the Tassadar ban, because I don't know why. I need to figure out this weekend as to why is Tassadar considered such a threat. But they're going to go ahead and ban out Stukov again, and Stukov was banned out in the first map on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I was blanking out for a second there. Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that was because I was arguing the fact that he has good shrine control with his ability to use the creepy hand in the ground, and he has the same effect on this map during these control phases where he actually can. That silence is just so hard to fight over, and you always are just constantly moving out of it. So if you can zone people with it so well, and that's something they just don't want to deal with on the side of Regen. Now, first pick is going over to Stranger Mings, and as I said, the Tassadar has been banned out in a lot of the games that I've seen lately, but they're going to go ahead and pick up the Vala. Vala providing really good team fight on this map, but Ari, I'm I'm just thinking about the Tassadar-Vala combination is going to be pretty strong if they do get it. But Tassadar is still open on the side for Regen. He does provide... He provides good poke, he provides good damage. The shielding that he can get with the life leech at 4. And you don't have to run it with Vala. You can maybe run it with a Tracer Tassadar combo. You know, the old standard. But the other thing that I do want to note on this map as well. So I'm just trying to think of all these combinations. But the main thing one of the main things that you definitely do want to nail down on this map, and it is a priority, is a strong wave clearing mage. Typically we see Gul'dan or Kael'thas here, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see one of them popping up right away. They're going to go ahead and get Joanna and Tassadar off the bat. Now, Joanna was used in the Tomb of the Spider Queen game, and she was just bodying so much damage. And she was just really in the face of the enemy team constantly. So the Joanna pick is strong here. The Tassadar is going to be grabbed as well with her, and I think on the side of Stranger Mings, they are hoping they could maybe run the Ariel or the Vala with that. But either way, so going back to wave clear, they're going to want to either pick up a Gul'dan or a... Tassadar is now good because of the shielding and AA enabling of the lifesteal. He offers good damage. And wave clear enables pretty much any AA plus force wall at 10 unknowing to zone control. There you go. And I'm going to murder your name again, but... Why do you have to make your name so hard? Like Chimo Ryfin? Thank you so much. But yeah, no, Tassadar is really strong. It's just I don't play enough support to completely have a grasp on like what his extreme benefits are to a team. And that is definitely something that as a caster I should focus on and learn. But on the side of Stranger Mings, they're going to go ahead and pick up the Lunara and Stitches once again. Now, this worked really well for them on the Tomb of the Spider Queen map. They were getting a lot of poke damage in, as well as that damage over time you get from her poison is really strong. Now, we are in our second ban phase here. They don't have a healer, so choking out another healer at this point might be strong. Yep, so they're going to go ahead and ban out Uther. And I'm just not even able to say words right now. Okay. So they're going to ban out the Uther on the side of Regen. Stranger Mings, they're going to want to try and maybe ban out something that would pair well with the Tassadar. There's quite a few heroes that pair well with him. Tracer being the one that comes to mind. But Greymane is still open at this point. Stitches is a high health pool hero. I don't think they're going to solo with him. They'll probably be running an Arthas as well. So Greymane might be a decent ban if they don't plan on taking it themselves, because the Cursed Bullet would be a threat. He's a strong solo laner, so you can leave him in top, then get a nice ranged assassin to pair well with the Tassadar and the Joanna, and then maybe pick up Rhaegar on top of that. They're going to go ahead and stream snipe and ban out the Tracer. Kaimo Tripson. Thank you. Kaimo Tripson. Thank you so much for just the rundown on Tassadar. Oh, Twitch chat, you're just so nice to me tonight. But all right, the Tracer was banned out, so that limits the combination. It doesn't really, completely cripple it or neuter it. It's just it makes it a little bit harder. I do know that I've been trying to cast a lot of the same teams, so I learn what they draft, and so that way I can maybe analyze where they're going with certain things a little bit better. I've cast a lot of Regen, and I know that they play a mean Tracer, and the ban out is extremely strong. Now, I still think Greymane is a great pickup here. They're going to go ahead and get the Malfurion and the Kael'thas. So they've got their wave clear. They've got good zone control for these fights, but they're not going to solo with the Tassadar in top lane, are they? It could be Alarak as well. Alarak is quite good on this map. But last two picks on the side of Stranger Mings. I'm just like, I'm looking over their comp and I'm like, what do they need? Like, what would I pick up at this point? If it was me and I was drafting currently, definitely I think I would lean on the Rhaegar. And if I could, if I had a player, I'd go for the Greymane as well. But they're going to go for the Alarak. So they're going to go solo Stitches, but they've got a ton of damage and a lot of CC on the side of Stranger Mings. This is a... Okay, let me try and mess up another one. AP United Dict? There's no T, but Dict. I don't know. But thank you. I will also notice you as well. Thank you. Thank you to basically everyone who's watching and coming by and watching the stream. It's great. If you enjoy it, please hit the follow button. That's another thing. I'm casting twice a week. And some free games and some games on the weekend. But last pick on the side of Regen. So they have a Tassadar, they have a Malfurion. They need something, I think, to solo top. And I just don't... I think it should be the Greymane, but you never know. They could go into a Sonya. Okay. I was going to say Dahaka for the global threat that he can just burrow into the other shrine right away and completely just catch the enemy team off guard. I like this. So, here we go into game number 3. Regen versus Stranger Mings on Brax's Holdout. And on the left-hand side, we have Regen with Murda on Sonya, Savior on Tassadar, Ragnarok on Malfurion, Templar on Joanna, and Turtles on Kael'thas. On the right-hand side, we have Stranger Mings with Rogue Nerd on Rhaegar, Darkstorm on Stitches, Desterus on Alarak, Jinxie Cat on Vala, and Smoky Dragon on Lunara. And Destaris, I'm not like singling you out. It's just I don't know why. Every time I read your name, like I want to just say like Destro. But that's just me watching too much G.I. Joe as a kid. So here we go into our third map. This is for all the marbles. These, by the way, I just want to note that both of these teams are 2-1 each. So this one will kind of put them over a little bit in the standings.
Systems online.
All right. So Kael'thas actually went into the Mana Addict at 1, not opting for the Convection stacks.
4, 3,
So we do have the Sonya in
2,
top lane
1.
going up against the Lunara, it looks like.
Gates open.
And when I said this is terrifying, the thing that's terrifying about this is going up against an Alarak and a Vala is just so scary to me because the Alarak has the telekinesis to move you around and Vala has the vault for the chase. And then you have Stitches throwing out blind hooks that are potentially just completely getting your teammates. And I just want to note again, on Tomb, they did have the Stitches there as well, and it was menacing. The hooks were just on point through so much of the game. So it's definitely something that they're going to want to worry about on the side of Regen. Now, the telekinesis is onto the Kael'thas. They do get the pull onto the Alarak. There is the root on him. Looks like they're trying to focus him down, but unfortunately they do not have the damage just yet. Okay, so taking a quick peek up into top lane. It looks like we're going to have Lunara going up against the Sonya, just like we did in the Tomb of the Spider Queen match. We're going to be focusing most of our attention down here in this bottom lane where we're having all the fun. The Alarak is hiding in the bush currently. He does come out. He will get caught out by a couple of the members here. Now there is a bunch of damage being focused onto him. They're going to have to back off, though. Unfortunately, they do not get the kill. The silence is out onto the Kael'thas. There is shielding from the Tassadar, but this Alarak is getting so low. Will they end up getting the kill? There is a root from the Malfurion. There is the... No, but he barely gets away. Taps the well. And they do get the pull onto the Joanna. The telekinesis is there. She uses her iron skin. Or no, excuse me. She doesn't. She uses the... she doesn't use anything. Tassadar shields her. Trying to catch up with all those things. Alrighty, so in top lane, we do have the Sonya already going on to the beacon. No, it looks like she's probably in the bush, waiting for the Lunara to come a little too close to her. She will be going straight into the beacon, though. That is top, going to be contested. Bottom will be held by Stranger Mings. We do have the Kael'thas, who is going to be coming into this fight here. Now, Kael'thas really does well on some of these points because of the fact that he does have a lot of AoE damage. The hook does come out to him, but it will not confirm the kill. Now, Alarak will be laning up a little bit here, trying to get closer to 4s. Gives a little bit of an advantage to have that 4 talent, as well as having a little bit of a level lead on your enemy team. Or excuse me, on your friendly team. I just keep checking Twitch chat really quick just to see if there's any new fun information coming out. Now, Tassadar did rotate up into top lane, so they will stop this beacon phase at 98%. Lunara does have the vision and will see that Tassadar is up there, so the enemy team will be kind of playing safe since the Rhaegar did go back for mana. I'm assuming they just... I'm guessing they were thinking they would be getting this, so he went back, got full on mana, and then that's when they, had the ability to take top. Now, Sonya is rotating into this bottom. She will be going straight onto the beacon, but we're going to be having this Alarak currently falling, and that is going to be First Blood going over to Regen. Now, Sonya will zone out the Stitches with just the ability to live through everything, at least in an auto attack fight. Up against the Stitches, she definitely wins that one with the spin to win and her ability just to sit there and never need mana. Now, checking into some of these first level talents, we're actually going to have a small engage here, but it looks like the Stitches will be getting away without a problem. Kael'thas is getting a ton of damage out. Looks like we're about almost halfway through his mana addict, I think. I believe it's out of 20. Yeah, so he's got 12 more globes to go, though. In top lane, we are still having that point held by Tassadar going up against the Lunara. Now, this Stitches is in a bit of a pickle, but Rhaegar was rooted for a second there by the Malfurion. Getting zoned away a little bit by the Sonya here, while making sure she doesn't spread the chain bomb to the Alarak. The hook barely misses. And they're doing a phenomenal job on the side of Regen, just making sure that they stay back towards their gate. They're pushing back the wave. But now that they went down for this Regen Globe, they will be trying to jump onto this beacon. The top was grabbed by Lunara, but the Stitches is currently falling extremely low. Does he have a bite? No, he does not, and he will be getting killed by the slam from Sonya. Now Alarak is trying to get a silence onto a few of these members. There is the pull in from the Joanna. Telekinesis does get him out. The chain heal barely gets onto that Vala, and she will get out. Now, actually, Alarak... Okay, never mind. I thought Alarak was going to be getting collapsed upon, but they're going to go ahead and on the side of Regen, capture this top beacon. Nope, just barely not capturing it. And so they won't be charging that up any further. But there are two members currently at top lane for Stranger Mings up against Regen and top. I don't know why, but I'm hearing Kael'thas laughs in my headphones, so I apologize for that, but it was just perfectly timed for the silence and just the little Kael'thas laugh in the background. The beacons will be just held in bottom by Regen and in top by Stranger Mings. There will be still just 98% still on the beacons, though, for Stranger Mings. That has got to be so frustrating. Alright, so at this point, Alarak is going to be rotating into the bottom lane. There is help called for the beacon. Top is currently being held. They're going to go ahead. The Joanna will be jumping onto this point to make sure that they do not get it. The silence is already there. They get a few abilities onto the Joanna. She's already being held. Full back to health over time. This is a Stitches getting extremely low. The chain heals are there from the Rhaegar, but he will not be living. Vala will have to vault away, and that is going to be the bottom beacon held still by Regen. Just... I keep looking over at it, it's just 98%. I can't believe it. Because most of the time when you're on this map and you're rotating, you're like, oh, I'll never make it there in time, so you usually just give it up and let it go. But that 2%, they just, like milk, they didn't let it go. Or it's a 2% like milk, there you go. Usually you want to do that. In bottom lane, though, we do have the Alarak currently being damaged down a little bit. He will have the telekinesis to save himself. Alright. Hook does come out onto the Malfurion, and I just want to note that this is like one of the longest first beacon phase I've ever casted in my entire life. There's a huge silence onto a few of the members. There is the Vala doing extreme amount of damage, but with this double healer, or excuse me, with this Malfurion currently in bottom lane, it's just impossible to kill these members. He's just perfectly getting the healing that is needed. They get a second of a charge on the side of Regen, but the top is captured by the Lunara. Now, Stitches is low once again, so he will have to back off, get the well. He will be able to come back into this fight quite soon. I'm going to go ahead and lane up here a little bit further. We'll check into some of the talents. There was a Mist Spear that might have been the doom for Alarak, but they did not have it. Now, the beacons have been collected by Regen, so this is a 98 versus 100, but the Sonya will not be able to spin through that and win. That is going to be the first kill over to Stranger Mings. First kill for Stranger Mings. Now, this is a 100% versus a 98%, so it's not as technically strong. The 100% means that you just have that second Ultralisk, because 50% gives you one, 100% gives you a second, so it's literally pretty much the only difference, I think, between the two waves. It's just one Ultralisk, maybe some Zerglings or some Hydros, but I don't think so. Anyways, they are going to go ahead and push back this bottom lane, and in top, that's going to be cleared out quite quickly as well. I don't think much value is going to be... There's this... I believe this gate's just going to be falling down from the 100% Zerg wave. Alarak, quite a few members low here. They don't have 10s yet, but there is only the Tassadar on top, just kind of soaking the experience. In bottom, though, we do have Kael'thas, I believe, finishing his Mana Addict talent at level 1. We can check into some of those now that we have some of this clearing phase. We're going to be seeing some of the camps being picked up by a few of the members. But that is Mana Addict being finished. There is Tassadar's... It's 5/8 of the way through his talent? I don't know, I'm just trying to figure... It's not a third, or it's not 2/3, but either way. So they're going to go ahead, and it looks like they're trying to see, so they do pull one of the minions out, and this will stop the engagement, but we do have Joanna going right into this engagement. We do have the... Oh my god. The Phoenix came out, but the Ancestral just didn't finish the animation in time. A huge silence from the Alarak. He will be finishing his talent. He does have the Counter-Strike. It does not kill anyone yet. The silence is there from the Malfurion. They do end up getting that last auto onto the Alarak. The Ancestral, I believe, missed him once again at the last second. The friendly hook is out onto the Rhaegar, which will save him. And that is going to be a 2-for-0 trade. Now, they did get that Sonya a little bit earlier, so there is that. But at the same time, they are still rotating around these lanes, making sure that the Joanna is working towards her... level 1 talent for the Regen Globes. I believe she needs 25... 30. She needs 30 of them. But once she gets them, she becomes even more tanky than she already is. And we've seen how she basically just walks in the middle of team fights and hits the W and completely disrupts it. Now, both the camps are picked up at the exact same time. Lunara picked this up in top, and Sonya picked this up in bottom. Looks like Tassadar will be grabbing that globe and just defending by the gate up against us. Now, Stitches is using his future battle through the majority of these members. The Phoenix does come out from the Kael'thas. Counter-Strike is out from the Alarak. It does not yield a kill. There is a Whirlwind from the Kael'thas, and they will get the kill on him from the W, I believe, from Alarak. I don't know the exact name of it. Discord Strike? No. Discord Strike. I was right. Okay. Cool. So they do get the telekinesis out onto one more member, but it friendly hook pulling the Alarak over to his... I'm so glad friendly hook was just baked into Stitch's kit, because at one point it was a 13 talent, and you could take that and just completely be a jerk to all your friends. And that's what we used to do to each other. But we would just, you know, if we were fooling around in AI, that's the, you know, when you pick a serious time and quick match only, of course. But once again, with Zerg Pens resetting, we do have them currently in bottom lane for Regen and top lane for Stranger Mings. So it's going to be held in top by Tassadar and Sonya, who it looks like Sonya will be rotating down with the team. The Wisp, I would assume, is going to scout that out. She's going to go ahead. Okay. Leap is currently available. Wouldn't be too surprised to see it right under that Vala. The disengaged future battle is already used. So at this point, they're going to probably just let that be burned off. They get the hook onto the Joanna, who uses her, Iron Skin, and will just walk away. Now, the bottom is started to being contested by the Stranger Mings, but they get leaped on, and that is going to be 2 members falling right away. That is also going to be charge on top and bottom for both teams. Now, Tassadar only can hold this for so long, so this will be captured by the Lunara. Look to see the Sonya probably rotate up there to go ahead and grab that back again. And in 10 seconds, we're going to have a few of the members back up, so they might be able to start this beacon charge once again as the members are rotating in. So there is a flank onto the Lunara from the Sonya. There's the Poison Spear. They do get the slam out the Force Wall, as they said in chat, is so annoying. Lunara gets bodied by the Force Wall. It was mostly Sonya, but still. That Vala. Okay. I like to imagine that the Force Wall just did a little bit of damage there and actually got the kill. But Sonya did confirm that kill, and they are actually going onto this Alarak, who will get Force Wall again, but the Ancestral's used right away. They turn around. I think they're gonna try and go in for this fight. Unfortunately, that is going to be both beacons captured at 100%. So this will be a 100% beacon, or excuse me, 100% Zerg wave for Regen. Looks like they're going to rotate all the members into bottom lane for this push. The fort is currently damaged. They don't have a gate. They get the Whirlwind onto the Stitches, who does use his Peacher Bile to zone some of the members away. Now, they don't have that asset for this fight currently. We do have the leap in from the Sonya with her spinning. Force Wall is currently there. They do pull her out of position, but that is going to be 2 kills on the Rhaegar and the Alarak once again. Now, this is still about a 50% Zerg wave. The Sonya does get the spear in, but the the stun is there from the Vala. So she will not be able to aggress too far onto them. Now, we do have the last Ultralisk just dying, but we do have to keep in mind that the Guardians are extremely strong here. Joanna going in a little bit deep onto this Lunara, but the Lunara will actually be killed by the Flame Strike, and this is going to be the first keep of the game going over to Regen. Now, they do get a hook, or excuse me, a Whirlwind onto the Stitches, who will be falling as well. So they're going to go ahead and confirm this keep. There is no leap for the Sonya, so she will have to play this a little bit safe. They do want to get that last tower, though. They go ahead and mount them here, trying to escape, but this will just be a clean disengage from Regen with a few kills. They're actually going to go ahead and posture up for the boss right away.
Did you get them all? I don't mean any offense. I just want
Now, with 17 to 14, they do have the talent tier advantage up against them. But they're going to go ahead and just pick up this hard camp. Looks like a couple of them are going to hearth. Now, if they wanted to utilize their advantage, they could definitely rotate into this camp. It's typical of most teams after the Zerg wave. If you don't have any lanes to push up, you just go to these 2 camps. You go to this camp, and you go to this camp, as we see with Sonya doing. So, Regen definitely could have aggressed very hard there. They had their 16s. I believe they were all full on mana and everything. But that actually, with that last Regen Globe at the dispensary at top, I believe they are going to finish the Joanna level 1 talent. Yep, Tassadar's actually really close to finishing his as well. So with this, they do have their 16s. They can take this fight, but they don't want to fight under a tower. It's just unnecessary shots that could take them down quite quickly. It's just a lot of posturing at this point. People just don't. No one wants to get caught out too bad. There is the sounds from the Alarak, the telekinesis. There is a force wall from the Tassadar to zone send them away. But the leap is actually there from the Sonya. They hook her already in. Now the Peacher Bile is there. They do have the sounds onto the Sonya. She is currently nope. I thought she was going to be falling to some of the members there, but there was the Ancestor at the last second trying to get onto that Alarak, but it did not finish the animation. And he will be falling in this engagement. Now, 16s are very close on the side of Stranger Mings, so they can start to be a little bit more aggressive. Vala getting the Ancestral right away there. So it's going to be a long cooldown. I'm worried. B-Step's also by the Lunara too. I'm so confused. Why did you use your Ancestral right there? So in bottom, we are going to have the Sonya pushing up this wave just a little bit. This is 2 catapults. Now, the entire team of Stranger Mings appears to be rotating together. They don't want to get caught out at this point, and it looks like Regen's kind of doing the same thing. They're going to be rotating into the Sonya onto this bottom point. They're going to go ahead and capture this. Now the question is, are they going to do the back and forth game? And it looks like they are. Alarak is already on top, so that will stop momentarily. Stitches is in this bush by himself. The Vala does. They get the laps onto him. The force wall is there. The future bile does come out. He is trying to disengage from this as quickly as he can. Most of the members of Regen running through this bile are getting slowed, so they cannot catch up to him. They go for the distance. They just say, you know what, you can have it. But we did hear a Sonya leaping. The telekinesis did pull her and the Alarak towards this game. Looks like she'll be able to disengage from this easily. Okay. I heard the leap and I was like, well, someone's getting collapsed upon, but I guess, unfortunately, the telekinesis will save. Now the Malfurion getting rooted from that fishing hook. There is the route for zoning, but he doesn't get away quick enough, and this is a late game kill, so that's 50-some seconds on Malfurion, and this Sonya's getting chased down. Now the force wall, the last second, pinches them from getting close to that Sonya, and they save her with that. Now, Tassadar needs to be safe himself. This camp is going to get scattered out, but they pick it up quick enough that the force wall will zone them away from aggressing onto them. But I believe, yeah, Tassadar is done with his level 1. They get a double time lapse. I keep saying time lapse, but it's the whirlwind. And so this is going to be the bottom captured for just a split second. They get 2% out of a charge, but Sonya's currently at top, so she cancels that out right away. And then I'm assuming by the time they get to top, they're going to capture bottom, and it's just this endless cycle. But Alarak is getting chased here. He will get the shield, the friendly hook at the last second. I was zoomed in just to, you know, get that cool kill. The leap to disengage here, they make sure they don't want to lose any members. This is getting quite into the late game. And I just also want to note that in bottom we do have a very, very strong push happening. But the Future Bell does come out. Jonah uses her Iron Skin, but she gets stopped right away, so she does have to stand in it for a few seconds. The Force Wall is there. Stitches is getting a bunch of damage put onto him, but he will be able to disengage. The Whirlwind does come out. Yeah, the Whirlwind. And so this is what I want to note. Bottom is getting pushed in quite hard from the 2 catapults as well as the siege camp. So the siege camp actually will just be ending, but there are still catapults there. Vala will be going back currently to make sure that they don't take too much core damage. And in top, they're going to go ahead. Regen will go ahead and take this free fort, since they did see their Vala go back to the core to go clean up, as well as the enemy team going to bottom for that point. Now, they're going to go ahead, get this hard camp, let it push up into the bottom lane, so that way it buys them a little bit of time up against these catapults. And I'm laughing because of the fact that they're just rotating into top and they're going onto the beacon. So at the same time they say, you know what, you're going to the beacon, you can get another 2%. Excuse me, they got 4% that time. So it's a slow gain, but Stranger Mings will eventually get to 100%, just 2 to 4% at a time. Now, they are staying down here on the side of Regen. They are close to 20. They don't have it quite yet. If they get one kill here, they could end up getting it. There's a huge leap onto the backline from the Sonya. There's a displacement as well. They get the kill onto the Vala. Now, the Ancestral does come out onto the Alarak. Sonya is in this backline trying to do so much damage. The silence is there. They get the kill onto the Rhaegar. They get the counter kill onto the Sonya. And they also, and I didn't say this, they killed Tassadar and Kael'thas. So, 3 for 2 trade. Stranger Mings coming out as the victors on that engagement, but at the same time, many of their members are quite low, so they're going to have to rotate them back to core as well for cleaning and such like that. But I made fun of them getting it 2% at a time, so they wanted to prove me wrong. You proved me wrong. So at this point, this is going to be about a 10% difference between the two. Lunara actually has vision on this hard camp, so they might actually see these rotations happening. So it looks like they're waiting for the Alarak. They're going to go ahead and go to this bottom. Now, this will get them a small extra percentage. Once Alarak gets on this point, it will, counteract it a little bit here. But this will be just about even, still going over to Regen a little by 2%. So this is back and forth. I've never casted a Braxis holdout match where there's been like this much of a rotation between the 2 points and people just fighting back and forth over them. Alarak is in this bush, though. So they go ahead and they capture both the beacons once again on the side of Regen. This is starting to add up a little bit for them. Now they get the capture point on bottom on the side of Stranger Mings, but they still need to consider the fact, I'm looking at minimap and watching that the catapults are getting way too close. So they send their Lunara back, which at this point means that they go ahead and capture this camp once again, which will help them push up that bottom wave. And this is just, they're just constantly pushing up into this bottom wave, but they get that force wall, which stops them from leaving. The lead onto them as well keeps them from living. Another force wall is going to keep the Stitches from getting out. The Future Bile has ended. A second force wall will stop him once again. And it looks like the Zerg wave is going to be going in top for Regen, but they're going to go ahead and say, we got 20s. We're going to force wall you once again, Alarak, and push into the bottom wave. Now, this is going to force the enemy team to make a decision. Do they want to... Okay. What? Okay, Alarak. So they get the kill on the Malfurion, and the... Sonya? She needs to attack the sidewall. Oh. As Sonya attack this... Okay, so she does get shielding. And she will be fine. Alright. This is quite an intense match. In top lane, though, we do have this huge Zerg wave pushing onto a keep, and that is going to be free for Regen. And that is also going to be a siege camp pushing onto the court. Now, Lunara is extremely low here, and she needs to be careful. She will be killed by the Zerg wave as well. Now, Regen is going to play extremely safe here. They're going to go ahead and just de-push the little bit of Zerg wave that's up against them. And possibly posture up for a boss at this point.
Zerg waves defeated. Resetting pens as per
And
protocol.
it looks like they're going to go ahead and just get their camps off the bat. So they're going to play extremely safe on the side of Regen. They want to make sure that they're going to play the slow game. They're going to play the map game. Because they've been winning most of these engagements, especially with their 20s, with the Tassadar force walls, have just been outstanding. Now they're going to go ahead and go on this camp. This is quite aggressive for them, but this will be pushing up in top lane really, really well. They scouted out boss. They realized they weren't there. The force wall was there to block off any sort of engagement from the Alarak. Now, Regen they're just playing so extremely safe. Both teams are, honestly. They do see that the enemy team, they can count at least a couple members up there, so they might... Yep, they're going to go ahead and steal the siege camp from them in bottom... the bruiser camp in bottom lane from... Yeah, from Stranger Mings. And this is starting to be a lot of pressure on the side of Stranger Mings because of the fact that they're just constantly pushing in the lanes. They're not trying to take team fights. They're not trying to, you know, party bush or anything. They're just pushing up the waves. And it's forcing Stranger Mings to basically just sit in their core, and they really can't do much on the map. They just have to constantly just de-push, constantly defend. And now that they see that a majority of the members are there, it looks like they're gonna... So they're gonna party bush for this. I was just saying, they're not doing this, and they go ahead and do it right away. So they're not showing on map. Stranger Mings doesn't know where they are. They do get the Wisp out. Oh, but Tassadar does show, so they know right away that it is a party bush, unfortunately. So they go ahead and they disperse the hook onto the Joanna, but they will not be able to get a kill, unfortunately. She pops her unstoppable right away, and she just says, no thanks, I'm just going to disengage. It's not that long of a cooldown. Plus, actually, excuse me, she did take an instruction. But this is going to be a Stitches who went in for the engage. There was a force wall that didn't end up blocking when the assist roll does go out right onto the Stitches, but they get the kill onto the Joanna, but there's the counter kill onto the Vala. Alarak is in the back lane. He does have his deadly charge. Who is he going to be charging onto? He does go in there. There is the kill onto the Kael'thas now. He does get the telekinesis onto the Joanna as well, who disengages from that. And overall, a 2-for-1 trade benefiting Stranger Mings. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind that bottom and top are currently being pushed in by catapults. So with that, the Lunara has gone back. This leaves the Rhaegar by himself, but there isn't enough... I don't think there's enough follow-up damage to really... get a kill here. That fishing hook, though. Holy crap, is that a long hook. So once again, they're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to this back and forth. They're going to be capturing top, so Regen's going to rotate into bottom and go ahead and capture this. They're going to get a small percentage on the side of Stranger Mings. Now, if I am correct, as the game goes on, I think the beacons scale in their speed. I had to have to check that, but... I think the beacons actually do scale in the speed at which the percentage, how quickly it goes up. I think as the game goes on, it just goes up immensely quicker just to obviously speed up this phase. Because if you just have people rotating in between the lanes, you know, you can't do this forever. Now, the Kael'thas is just back up. They can't take this fight just yet because they are full on the side of the Stranger Mings. So this will be a Beacon phase charging up quite a bit on the side of Stranger Mings. Now, they say on the side of Regen, they go in for this engagement. Force Wall is there. They get 2 members. They get the Vala and they get the Alarak. Now, that is their main damage gone. Lunara is still there, but she's being really poked back by quite a few of the members. She has to play extremely safe here because the Force Walls are extremely powerful. The Ancestral just come out to her right away. And so that is going to be a 90% beacon on the side of Stranger Mings. But with the 2 deaths, this is going to be a Zerg wave 100% going over to Regen just due to the fact that they can't fight this. They can't really sneak another beacon phase. This Lunara needs to play. Ooh. She died to the Zerg wave before, and I just got really worried. Now, before the Zerg gets 100%, they go ahead and just capture up this boss. And it will be pushing into, I believe, a random lane because there is no keep or anything. I don't think it's going to go bottom. I don't know how it prioritizes the lanes, but it looks like it is going to go into top. I would assume maybe it would just go into the opposite lane of the Zerg wave if there are no keeps. So with that, though, that is a boss currently going into top. We have pressure in the top lane from a minion wave as well as a siege camp. Bottom is currently getting pushed in. It's not quite there all the way, but the rest of the team looks like they are rotating in with the Zerg wave currently. They're going to let that boss push up by itself. Or did it didn't get already cleared, did it? Maybe it's just a mini-map error. But at this point, with the Zerg wave currently coming in, we have a lot of pressure now. The Future Bile is put out. Sonya does use her leap to get into a few of these members. There is the Alarak who charged into the backline. He does get his Counter-Strike off, but unfortunately he will be falling. It's going to be 64 seconds on Alarak now. They start chasing down the Stitches, who will be healed by the Rhaegar. But Sonya is currently spinning on him. He leads her towards the gate, but he will be falling. This looks like it's going to be game number 3 going over to Regen. GG, well played.